Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my.
So I have a few topics that I think are interesting. It's a busy weekend in sports.
You didn't say Luca Nation.
Sometimes I throw it in on the hook. Sometimes
Luca
I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I want you to start it off. That way all this other stuff is now, it's all erased. And then we start off fresh. And I know it's time to put the game face on.
Okay. I love my personal favorite is when you're half asleep on the couch and I ask a question or make a statement that's interesting to you. And it takes you about 6 seconds to fully get up, but you get up and get engaged in the topic. Exactly. Yes, it's one of my favorite things. You're in a new chair today.
Just by the window here. I've done it before, but you can't really tell, I guess, in the afternoon.
I don't think you've ever had that lighting. It actually compliments you really well. I hope you shave this week, though, if you're going to the office. So Luca Nation, since Cage wants me to kick it off officially without just yapping, I will. So welcome back to another episode of Luca's Tigers and Bronze, a Sunday evening edition. And we have a full slate of topics to discuss today. It's springtime in America, huh? Pretty nice.
It is.
People are smiling up in the Northeast.
Pretty sure it's spring in Mexico too, right?
Kind of, yeah, but it's the same weather year round. Really, it gets a little bit more hot in the summer, but daylight savings and all that good stuff. There's more tourists here, but I have a few topics here to discuss, Cage, if that's okay with you.
Let's go. Start it off. Let's hear it.
All right. So first, we got the Ncaa Tournament.
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit about that.
I've already lost two of my four. Two of my Final Four teams already out.
Okay. Well, you're not the only one. There's been a ton of upsets, but it's interesting to watch. But at the same time, I don't know if you watch NBA and then college, and there's so much more talented in the NBA. It's kind of crazy. Yes. We could talk about that if you want. Goldin Auctions. People are kind of tweaking out all over Instagram this morning about the Jordan sales. You as the Jordan experts, the Jordan market expert, would love to hear your thoughts. Top Shot. I want to talk about Top Shot LeBron moments, specifically the OG moment versus the Kobe tribute. Mbappe. I want to talk a little bit about Mbappe because Champs League's coming up. I don't know if you follow that at all. And then we have Deshaun Watson. He's facing quite a few allegations about sexual abuse. And I'm interested how you think that's going to affect his cards and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the topics that I prepared for today's discussion. I think they're all relevant. But don't let me steer you. You know, if there's something that's top of mind that's important to you, Mr. Cage, let's bring it to Luca Nation and then deliver two plays for them.
All right. Listen, I like all those stuff. I'm not gonna be able to talk I'm not gonna be able to talk too much about soccer because, you know, it's soccer. But yeah, other than that, we can, you know, we'll do our thing, man. Let's go. So NCAA's, I lost Illinois today. They got beat up really bad, and I had them in the finals. I had them losing to Gonzaga, and I lost Texas. I had Texas going to the Final Four also. So. You know, the only point gainers for me is I need my other two Final Fours. Arkansas was my other little, you know, fun play to get to the Final Four, and you know, and Gonzaga. I went total chalk. I have Gonzaga winning the whole thing, so I guess I still have a shot at it, especially if it's Arkansas in the Final Four and Gonzaga wins. But yeah, I lost. You know, Illinois. I had Gonzaga over Illinois in the final, so that's kind of shitty. But I'm sure a lot of people had their brackets busted already. So
not a ton of talent. So NCAA clearly super competitive. It's awesome to watch. The upsets, it's entertaining, but not a lot of talent for next year in the NBA. Are you seeing that as well?
I agree. Although, you know, you get to watch a game like this, and you don't really see too much of the talent. Like I watched Purdue, they didn't win, so you're not gonna be able to see a bunch of games out of those guys, obviously. But there's a freshman Ivy, number 23. He was really good. He had a great game. You know, he had a good college season. You know, wasn't somebody who was like, you know, All-American or anything like that. Kind of came out of nowhere. But like somebody like that, I could see it would have been nice if he would have played again. They got beat, but you know, their draft stock rising. You know, he looks NBA ready even as a freshman. But yeah, man. The flip side to that coin though is sometimes people look good in the NCAA tournament and they just turn out to be NBA flops anyway. So they may look talented, they may look good, but I remember when I was collecting in the 90s, the 93-94 draft, which was headlined by like Weber and Sean Bradley. I made fun of him the other day, and then it turns out he got hit while he was riding a bike. He got hit by a car and is now a paraplegic. see the powers that I have. It's amazing.
Very sad.
I feel really bad.
Very sad.
But, Penny Hardaway. So there was a guy who was drafted. I don't remember if he was drafted 17th, 19th, but he was definitely a first-round draft pick. He played for Seton Hall, and Seton Hall had a decent run in the tournament that year. And he was a big guy, 7-footer. His name was Luther Wright. And he had a good tournament. He just kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't like a heavily touted like player, but he had a good tournament, and he was drafted in the first round, and he turned into like nothing. So that could happen too.
That can happen. What I mean is, even with all of that, there's usually 1, 2 on some of the best years, 5 prospects. Like I don't know if you remember that Kentucky team, with DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall,
course,
but Eric Bledsoe,
yeah.
There's usually, Okafor, I believe that year was on Duke. But the point is, Wendell Carter, I could go on and on. There were guys that you're like, at least they have a shot to be superstars in the NBA. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. I'm not seeing anyone. The media shoves this Cade Cunningham guy down our throat, and he's like a 3 for 14 shooter, just a volume chucker. But anyway, we won't beat a dead horse.
Listen, Cade Cunningham looks like he could be all the player that a LaMelo Ball was last year. I watched their Gonzaga play yesterday, and he was moving the ball all over the place. Very good passer. He did not have his best shooting night, but he does look like a good player. But your point is yes, there's no Luka, there's no Zion, there's no Ja, there's no, maybe somebody will turn into a Ja, who knows? But you're right, there is no headliner, but people said exactly that with this year's draft, right? You had Anthony Edwards, Wiseman, LaMelo, like any of them could have been a top pick. And who knows, who's the best player of all of them. But
I don't know I don't know a single guy you could put on any of those guys' level right now.
Yeah, but none of them were on any level. Like nobody was impressed with those 3 guys this past year either. You know what I mean? People were like LaMelo Ball. I remember this time last year, people were like, LaMelo Ball, really? That he's playing in Australia? One of the Ball brothers potentially could be the top pick in the draft. People thought it was insane. So, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. Maybe in the next game, Cade Cunningham lights it up and goes, 15 to 16, and you're like, wow, this kid's the real deal. You never know.
All right. Friday during the day, Deshaun Watson cards flooded eBay. And some of the silver prism, it's the base. And a PSA 10 sold for $700, $800. That was a $1,400 card just a week ago. And what happened was, and this is super preliminary, but anyway, he has like 10 different sexual assault allegations that have come out against him in the last week. The interesting thing is, Cage, you could take this whichever direction you want. The lawyer that is trying this case is next door neighbors with the owner of the Houston Texans. Were you aware of this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm curious, right? Deshaun, we've been talking to him. Basically, he's been the talk of the NFL offseason. Where's he going to go? Apparently, the Texans got rid of everyone except for him. I know there's a lot of investors sitting on the sidelines who believe in Deshaun's talent, but, talent has to meet opportunity, right? How are you playing this? How are you looking at this? What do you make of this at all? And it doesn't even have to be specific to Deshaun Watson. It could be more along the lines of, this is what I've seen when guys have had legal trouble in the past, and this is what I would wait for before making a decision whether to put your money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be whether he's guilty or innocent, or if this is, manufactured allegations or legitimate, because we'll never know. It could be more of, how would you invest in a scenario like this where a superstar player, quarterback, someone who is super investable in the offseason dealing with these issues, and you want to put your money where your mouth is, or you don't.
Well, it's a very difficult scenario, right? You're talking about Busby and, Tony Busby. So he's representing allegedly 12 women who are making claims against Deshaun Watson's sexual assault. We're not going to, get into the facts of it, the whole deal. I don't know. I wasn't there. It seems like there has been evidence submitted in 7 of them. The same lawyer is going to have 12 women. It's going to be another 5. I got to tell you, and this is definitely going to, come out sounding, controversial. But my play today is buying Deshaun Watson cards. Well,
how do I tee you up?
Here's the thing, right? What I would do is I would wait a little while, right? Because you're going to see whether or not this becomes criminal or whether it's just a civil thing. And obviously the difference there is criminal investigation. There's a potential to really put his career in jeopardy.
So first thing, just to quickly sum up, you're
Please.
looking to see as an investor if there's going to be criminal charges or if this is just going to be a civil case.
These are the kind of things, right? These are the kind of things where you may be able to find a bargain in a player, especially if it turns out that there's not, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. But if it's just smoke,
it's just using all of my quotes. He's literally just using all of my quotes.
So I'm trying, man. I'm trying to be you today.
I trademark.
So Sunday.
Trademark infringement on Cage Lawyer.
So I mean, the deal here is that he hasn't done anything off the field. He hasn't done anything on the field to take the cards down. A lot of times, off the field stuff is enough to make the card value go down, and he's going to lose fans because of this. I mean, that's just straightforward. But Go ahead.
Okay, if he loses fans and he loses status, whatever that means, can he sue them for defamation?
But even that, my deal on it is he. This is one where you may not get a chance to buy his stuff this cheap ever again. And over the next couple of weeks, the prices have taken a beating. They're going to continue to take a beating. And I think in a year, 2 years, 3 years, when he's potentially winning a Super Bowl or an MVP, people are not going to, they're going to remember, wow, those cards took a beating. I should have got in then.
Let's stay on topic. Let's stay on theme where this is going to be a controversial Sunday show. And guys, remember, this is a talk show. We share our opinions. We're trying to give you different angles. Not everything here should be taken as gospel. Do your own research. Have your own opinions. We love you guys, Luka Nation. LeBron injury, or should I call it Le Fake injury?
Yeah, man.
And specifically, you could take it any direction you want. I want to talk about what Top Shot should do with his NBA Top Shot moment, specifically the OG dunk, which is his first Series 1 moment, versus the Kobe tribute, right? So the prices went berserk last night. They fell, 10, 15, 20%. Not a lot of buyers, a lot of people listing them below the floor on Top Shot. But the Kobe tribute dunk fell a lot more because, as we know, there's more of that moment in circulation, not more minted. They're both out of 1,000 because the Top Shot account is holding a lot of the OG moment, right, Cage?
Yep.
Okay, so you could take the LeBron injury any direction you want, but they're saying he's going to be out for a little while, out indefinitely with a high ankle sprain. What are you making of the LeBron injury, the LeBron card market, and if you want to touch on the LeBron Top Shot market?
Sure. So LeBron's cards have come down a bit. Interesting take on LeBron here. This was the Lakers team was one that we thought was a juggernaut in the beginning of the season, adding Montrez and returning AD and LeBron, and obviously now the Nets have gone out and built a super team over there, and the Lakers have kind of sputtered out a little bit. They don't look like the best team in the West. They look like a team that would probably lose to the Nets in 5. I have never
with Kyle Kuzma as their leading scorer now.
Yeah, Kuzma's their leading
Nets in 5.
No, if LeBron comes back and AD comes back and the whole deal, I still think they lose to the Nets in 5. So, but here's the fun of that. I don't think we ever see that series because I think LeBron doesn't want to hear that he's only won 4 out of 11 or however many it is. I mean, how many has he won now? He's won 4 out of 10, right? So yeah, right. He's 4-6 with last year's win. He won 2 with Miami, 1 with Cleveland, 1 with LA. I think he doesn't even go to the finals. I think he would rather lose on his way to the finals or have a crappy end to the season where he's injured and doesn't even play, than go and lose in the finals for a 7th time. Because I think he's tired of hearing of it. And
Cage-spiracy, talking about Cage-spiracies here.
I know that's going to be controversial, but that's who I think he is. I don't think he's a killer. I don't think he's a GOAT. I don't think he's I don't think he has what it takes to to carry a team. He never has. He's never showed that he's had the ability to do it before. AD put him on his back. Kyrie puts him on his back. And, he sat on the shoulders of Bosch and Wade. So, why wouldn't he, we'll see. Time will tell, right? It's only a couple months away. We'll see what happens. But I have a feeling that it's not going to be, Lakers Nets in the finals. So
now that we do a YouTube show, so we have video now. If you guys want to watch the video of these podcasts, we're on YouTube now, guys. I don't know if you realize this, but Cage has a Skull and Bones shirt on. little Goonies going. And I love this. Today's episode this isn't our typical vibe. You know, we're usually hurrah, cheering, very positive, but today we're a little bit more.
Well, I'll take it even deeper, right? On LeBron. LeBron, I watched his injury yesterday, and I couldn't believe what I saw. I mean, he had an ankle turn, and they landed on his ankle, and it's the kind of injury you've seen in the NBA many, many times. But normally, when you see that injury, you get somebody hobble over to the sidelines. If it's not that high of an ankle sprain, they'll relace their shoes and they'll come back out onto the court.
Tighten them up, right?
You tighten them up. That's it. You tighten up the shoes, you come back on. I've seen it a bunch of times. Now, if it's a really bad sprain, we saw one with John Morant earlier this year. It was a much different turn. I mean, you saw how badly Morant came down full weight rather than, somebody kind of like twisting the ankle that you had on LeBron. The Morant one looked significantly worse. And even he was on the ground waiting for the trainers to come over, laying there, sort of calm. LeBron looked like, you ever go deep sea fishing, you pull a marlin out of the ocean and it's like flopping around all over the place, the fish flopping all over. LeBron looked like a fish flopping around on the court yesterday. And, just writhing in pain and wailing. And I mean, it's the kind of thing like, hey, Ian, you can't have another Swedish fish. So he's going to, flop around on the floor, and whine and cry. I want more candy. That was what LeBron looked like, which, that's some people's goat, not mine. But
it's funny. I did go deep sea fishing, Cage. I did go deep sea fishing. There you go. 10 years ago, when I'll tell you about pulling. 10 years ago, we went deep sea fishing for barracuda and mahi-mahi here in Mexico. I just turned 21. Playing college soccer. I was playing really well. I was looking good. I was fit. I had the Sixers hat on. And I met a 24-year-old here. Mm-hmm. And we were going out every single night. And that's only 3 years difference. But you know what I'm saying? 21 to 24 at that age, like, she'll show you a few things. You know what I'm saying, Cage?
Yeah.
But we were going out every night. And then the next, like maybe the second to last night before we were leaving, or second last day before we were leaving, we had a deep sea fishing trip planned, and it was not fun. I'm getting memories. It was not fun. I was throwing up the whole time. I got seasick. I was laying on the floor of the boat as everyone was catching barracuda, but I do remember the floppy fish.
So yeah, well, that was what LeBron looked like, floppy fish. But take this however you want, and I don't want to get into a conversation about COVID or vaccines or the whole deal. But if you type in LeBron James's name in the last 2 weeks before this injury, because if you just typed into Google now, you're gonna see he's injured. Okay, but if you type in his name in Google over the last 2 weeks, you would get the same article over and over again, and it was LeBron James being urged to rethink his stance about the COVID vaccine. That's the title of about 9 articles. The top 9 things. One of them is Stephen A. Smith urges LeBron to rethink his stance on the vaccine. It's on ESPN. It's on Yahoo. It's on everywhere, right? Because he came out and said it's a private decision that he's making on his own. And basically, for the last couple of weeks, LeBron has been pressed more about the vaccine and his stance on it, his position on it, than his game, than on the fact that the Lakers look piss poor, and that there's trouble in Hollywood when it comes to what that Lakers team is going to do. And am I saying that he is faking his injury? No, but I'm saying 5 minutes after he was writhing around in pain on the ground, the news wires hit LeBron out indefinitely. Not he's coming back in the second half, right? Not he's coming back tomorrow. Not he's out a couple of days. Not they're going to reassess. Not there's going to be an MRI. Not, hey, the normal timeline for a high ankle sprain, this grade. We're going to wait to see what grade it is. We're going to compare it to John Morant. No. With him, out indefinitely. Now, we'll call it another cage conspiracy. I will say that it is convenient that he no longer has to answer questions about his stance on the vaccine. So your GOAT, who I think wants no piece of the Nets, your GOAT, who will, if he makes it to the finals, which I don't think he's going to, will go 4-7 in NBA finals. Your GOAT, I believe, is he's hiding. That's what I think. So there's my cage conspiracy of the day.
Let me keep poking the bear.
Please,
Gary V's buying off the road cards and drawing
off the road.
Yeah, did I say that wrong? Just very random cards.
Oh,
I was reading his tweet. He called them off the road, I believe.
Yeah, like just like weird shit, right?
Yes.
All right.
Do you want to touch on that at all?
I think Gary V is one of the smartest, and I don't want to say anything horrible, but one of the smartest and fakest people in the world. So
off the beaten path is what he called it.
He's a perfect example of why we're going to see a pullback in cards. Because I think a lot of money is finding its way into these ridiculous NFTs, and people are putting their money into these things now as, as the next thing that potentially can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 30x. Because people are seeing it, and the cards already did it. And, he's buying off the beaten path cards. What was the last time that you saw Gary, holding up his 5 fingers and his, his big smiley card thing? Hey, here's my next thing. Where's his Giannis, Prism cards that he was pumping up when they were $6,500, $7,000? Why don't I see a picture of him on Twitter holding up Giannis, talking about how Giannis is the greatest basketball player, since Moses Malone? Where are those tweets? Where are his 86 Fleer, Dominique Wilkins and Elijah tweets? Where are all those things? That where they are? No, me neither, because they're not there, right? They're hidden now. They've moved into another market of lemmings and followers, and now it's by chubbies. Yes, chubbies. By chubby NFTs, by chubbies, right? By NFT racing horses. And people will follow, man. And you know what happens? You know what happens when people just continue to follow into all these weird little directions? What's left in the wake is a bunch of people holding bags of shit. Worthless bags of shit.
Clearly wipe my ass. Clearly Donruss.
Exactly. Clearly wipe my ass Donruss. Now, he's never recommended Donruss, but I'm telling you, he definitely recommended Giannis. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that the point, guys, is this. Yes, he's buying cards off the beaten path. Maybe that's a way to make some money now. Who knows? I'm surprised he hasn't come out and said that he is a big investor in Jay-Z cards after last night's Goldin Auction sale. I don't want to jump ahead to your next topic. We can talk about the auction prices in a moment and Jordan cards and the whole deal. But listen, Gary is one guy, right? He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing, and he knows that he can, move things. He had a picture yesterday. He obviously got into these chubby NFTs, chubbies early, and he posted, guys, you gotta be careful, right? You gotta be smart. He posted a picture of one of his ridiculous drawings. I forget what it was, friendly fish, whatever the heck it was. But it was the picture was off center. Like instead of the little sketch doodle that he drew being like center masked in his Twitter post, it was towards the bottom. And the top 2/3 of the picture were his computer screen. So that you can see the computer screen was the prices of all of these chubbies before he ever really commented about the chubbies, which he's been talking about all day today, right? So, guys, you're being led. Sometimes you're not being led to water. Sometimes you're being led to whatever the hell he wants you to drink. So just be smart, right? Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Horses like water a little more than like Kool-Aid. So
I hope you, Luca Nation, are enjoying this. I hope you understand how much preparation it takes on my end to come up with these polarizing topics to get Cage all up. And let me wrap with this. You're an owner of a Jordan Fleer PSA 10.
I am.
You're sitting on it good, but yet you saw pullback. You saw pullback from 736 to 630 to I think 550, and then now to 475. Yes. Those numbers are in the ballpark. But you know the MJ market as well as anybody. What do you make of the MJ market pullback? And then you could go into, what I saw is a lot of base cards pullback and a lot of kind of numbered autos still reached record highs. But curious to hear your thoughts.
So my thought, pretty straightforward, is any chart can be looked at in a way to tell whatever story you want to tell. So if you want to go on the crossover episode, Chris Hodge is live, and I don't know, what's the other guy's name, the one that puts me to sleep? Exactly. So you know his friend. They do. So those two. If you want to go on there and talk about how like, oh, this is we knew this was going to happen. That card should never be that price, and put up a chart that shows.
No, I know it's the Cardboard Chronicles.
It's like a big spike and then a big dip, right? Okay, that's one chart. But if you made a year chart or an 18-month chart or a 2-year chart, what you'd see on that card is you'd see peaks and valleys. You'd see it go up and go down. But what you would see if you panned out wide enough is that over time, that card goes up, just like most GOATs cards do. Now, I would make the argument that has happened many times that card, when the supply goes down, it makes new highs. And sometimes it gets ahead of itself. It did it during the Last Dance, and Jordan's cards pulled back. It did it again when Goldin sold 2 of them for 7 and change, which I think one of them was bought by like Timberland, right? And some other investors, you know, who were like, I'm just going to pay whatever the heck it is. And sometimes these auctions, remember, it's not the most liquid thing in the world. Sometimes these auctions, it's just a matter of one person saying, I'm going to pay whatever it takes to get this. And if there happens to be somebody else saying the same thing that night, you're going to get high prices. You know, anybody who thinks the Durant market isn't going to come down a little bit after their last auction last month is silly too. It's the same type of thing. You just had people going after Durant in that auction. So, you know, would it be great for someone who held the card to say, yeah, it's going to stay exactly at that price? Sure. Did everyone in the world expect a pullback? Also, sure. If you go back 3, 4, 5 months ago, the card was in the ones, right? I talked about how, you know, a guy on Twitter, Mr. Mint, was selling one for 105 and couldn't get rid of it, you know? This is less than a year ago. And then it went to 2 and it went to 3. Should it have gone straight from 3 to 7? No. But here's another way of looking at it. Take the 7s and the 6s out of the equation. Just take them off the chart, right? And look at the same chart that everybody has. What you're going to see is you're going to see the thing going like this. Instead of it goes like this and then like this. But from here to here, it's still going up. You know what I mean? It still went 1 to 2 to 250 to 3 to now 4.
Why do you think
it was 456 on PWCC, but still 2 sales last night, 492 in Goldin, right? So
and 5 months ago it was 105, 115. My question is, well, why in stocks do we understand that choppiness? But when it comes to cards, it's either straight line or like pullback.
Because we've gotten used to the straight line. And also it's a flex kind of thing, right? Because you got people out there saying, I have this card, it's worth X because of one sale. And what you have to be careful of is that doesn't mean that it's worth that, right? You know, especially in these markets that are not as liquid. You know, you want to tell me what your LeBron is worth today, fine, right? Because LeBron's worth $20-something thousand, because there have been plenty of them that have sold this week for that. That card was $40,000, right? I noticed also that, you know, what's funny is by a percentage, the LeBron Chrome, which was over 40, and the Kobe Chrome, which was over 40, they're actually down greater percentage than that Michael Jordan is, which went from 730 to 490, right? Those cards went from over 40 to mid 20s. Right, those cards are down 40%, but I don't hear anybody talking about those. I don't hear anybody holding up charts on those. You want to know why? Because the chart makers actually own those cards. Keep that in mind, folks. Keep that in mind.
His name's Josh. Cardboard Chronicles.
Josh, sorry, man, but you do. You put me to sleep. I apologize. You can't lie, and you can't say that you're exciting or anything like that. He puts me to sleep, man. He makes me snore.
I would compare, you know, you're the Suns with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. He's the Wisconsin offense. He's the Virginia offense.
Yes, very good. He gets
both
it done,
can win games. Both can win games.
Should want to watch
it. Well, you're a New Yorker. He's from the Midwest. So anyway,
I like the Midwest.
That's a wrap.
But
that's a wrap on my topics.
Well, no, one last auction, man. It's not just Jordan. There were other things in that Goldin auction, and let me also throw this one out there too, because I don't want to talk about Goldin auction. Jay-Z refractor is ridiculous. I'd like to start digging into the Goldin prices a little bit. And I don't have the data on this to kind of back it up in the whole deal, but he seems to be getting better prices for his cards. And a lot of people don't realize this. A Memory Lane auction ended last night as well. And Memory Lane had a PSA 10 Joe Montana rookie, and Goldin had a BGS 9.5 Joe Montana rookie, which, yes, it was 2 9.5s and 2 10s, I think. But it was still a BGS 9.5, and Memory Lane had a 10. The Goldin BGS 9.5 sold for more than the Memory Lane PSA 10 Montana, which is weird, right? And maybe it's because Yeah.
Maybe it's because Memory Lane sounds like an antique furniture store.
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's because Goldin's getting eyeballs and bidders that will now only bid there the same way people will only grade with TSA and they get a premium. And I guess that, that is definitely, one reason for it. But I guess then a tip for us would be if you're looking to buy cards like that, make sure you're checking auction houses other than Goldin, I guess, right? Because he seems to be getting a premium on his cards.
I bet you if we polled our audience, I would say 50%, if not more, don't even know that Memory Lane is an auction house.
Really? All right. Well, see, that's odd. It's probably the auction house that I've bought the most from. And I guess that makes sense because I've only purchased vintage baseball from them. I bought my Hank Aaron rookie from them and my Yogi Berra rookie from them in the past. So,
and that orange guy used to have as their profile picture.
That's Satchel Paige. He's not orange. He's not orange. And I wish I had that card still because,
You wish. Cage has this
like
he's one of the most fascinating people I've ever met. So anytime an auction ends with Goldin, Cage goes through the memory bank of every card he's ever owned.
It's so true.
And been like, if I kept this card at this price,
did
I do
it's
it
so
right?
true. You did it 100% right. And it's funny too because obviously there are other cards that are ending that I purchased that have gone up a lot, and I purchased those cards with the money I got from these other ones. So I'm being completely unreasonable about it. But yeah, I mean, a Michael Jordan finest refractor PSA 10 sold for $20,000, and that's up significantly from where it was. Even where it was during the Last Dance.
Do you know whose card that is?
Whose?
That's the Prion collection.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had one of those and sold it for probably 40% of what it sold for last night.
Right. Let's not go down memory lane.
Makes me sad.
How did that not catch? How did you not? Anyway, so your play is Deshaun Watson. My play is Mbappe Prism PSA 10. So I think the train is leaving on soccer, specifically Mbappe cards. And I'll tell you, the soccer market right now reminds me of NBA, the NBA market before it caught fire. What I'm seeing in the soccer market is two goats holding it up, Cristiano and Messi. But what I'm also seeing is this huge pool of young talent with charisma, with personality, with style. And I think that reminds me a lot of Luka, Zion, Giannis, Ja, that crop of young talent that kind of moved the sports hobby forward. That's what I'm seeing with the soccer market. And when I'm saying the train is leaving the station, what I mean is I wouldn't expect many pullbacks in the soccer market, especially with some of the higher end cards in the next 18 months. Here's why. So if we look at Mbappe, he has Champions League next week, 2 weeks from now. He plays Bayern Munich, which I think is going to be the PSG final. By the way, this crop of Champions League quarterfinals are unbelievable. We got Man City still in it. You got Madrid still in it. You got Liverpool still in it. You got Chelsea still in it. You got Borussia Dortmund still in it. You got PSG still in it. You got Bayern still in it. This is going to be as good of a quarterfinal as you could hope for. But what happens? Okay, so Mbappe. Let's say they beat Bayern and they go on to win Champions League. His cards go insane. Let's say they don't even do that. Well, what's 12 months from now? It's the
World
Euros.
Cup, right? Euro Cup now and then World after, right?
Euros exactly. World after. Euros, World Cup, nonstop soccer, huge tournaments. So you got Champions League coming up, you got Euros coming up, you got World Cup coming up. And who's going to be on the stage? It's going to be Mbappe in his prime. So I think the train is leaving the station. You know what I did, Cage?
What?
I bought Mbappe. Yes, I did.
Nice.
Yes, I did. And that's, part of our partnership, I like to eat my own dog food and it tastes delicious. By the way, I had an amazing breakfast this morning. You didn't even ask me about it, but it's okay.
Well, it sounds like if you ate dog food, that's not so good.
Curly fries and a big omelet. It was amazing. It was like a Sunday feast. I didn't know if I was going to be ready in time for this episode.
Curly fries are a good time.
They really are.
Don't tell me they were air fried or anything like that. Like I need legit curly fries.
Air fryers are interesting. I keep hearing them, but I don't own my own house, Cage, so I'm not going to buy an air fryer.
Good.
But I hear air fryers make food taste amazing, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did buy on
Star
Stock.
Deep fried.
I saved on shipping. I saved on taxes. I got a good deal. I got it for $12.25. But point is, I also want to try. I want to experience. I want to see what it's like because Star Stock is adding vintage cards and graded cards, and it's something that they're really, really passionate about. They think it's going to help both buyers and sellers. So I wanted to be a buyer and see what the experience was like, and it was really cool. It was literally in my account in seconds. I made an offer on the higher priced one, and we'll see how it goes. But yep, Mbappe Prism PSA 10. I also will say the 2017 Topps Chrome Mbappe may be worth a look too. It's a lower pop card. The issue with that is Prism has a little bit of notoriety, and 2018 was the year the France were in the World Cup. So those two things.
Can I ask you a question on soccer with your play?
Sure.
And it's great that you made the comparison to modern basketball, but modern basketball has gone in the shitter. You know, you made the comparison to Ja and Zion and Trey, and so so you have Mbappe, you have Haaland, you have Mason Greenwood, and you have Ansu Fati, and you have Gio Reyna, and you have. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to leave some.
So you do watch soccer? Look at this guy! Look at the big brains on Brad.
I'm sure, like I said, I'm leaving. No, but don't tell people I know soccer. Just one of them's going to be the Trey. And overall, aren't they all going to be the modern market? I mean, everybody's buying soccer. Everybody's buying it. I can't go on Instagram without seeing an Ansu Fati colored card or like a blue or a green or whatever it is. Messi this. And I mean, Messi and Ronaldo, I get. They're goats. It's fine. But Haaland's being priced as if he's already going to be better. And I know he's scored a lot of goals. Faster than anybody.
Haaland is a beast. Ansu Fati, I'm not so sure about.
But people are paying crazy money for Ansu Fati. I mean, what if he's the next Freddie Adu?
That's hilarious. I played against his brother Frodo at George Mason, by the way. Not very good. What I mean by the soccer market's like the basketball market. It reminds me of December 2019, right before the basketball market got super hot. It was already kind of hot in December 2019. Do you remember? Right before Zion came back, it already had momentum. It wasn't the early days where you could get Luka for $50, $60 on a PS 10, but it also wasn't what it is now. So it was still early days.
Listen,
yes,
the bottom's
it's going to have
on.
1 sec.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's still going to have the typical run of the cycle where it's going to hit peaks and then come down. Yep. But what you need to understand, Cage, is if there's 10,000 Prism PSA 10 Lucas, same with the Zion. Do you know how many Prism PSA 10 Mbappes there are?
I don't know, but there's still a ton of PSA. But how many?
A quarter.
What, 2,500?
Yeah.
PSA 10s of Mbappe.
Yeah. So obviously
aren't they the same price though right now?
They are. They're actually less. Mbappe's are $12.25.
And how much is Luka? About the same, right?
$1,500.
And you think that there are as many people out there interested in buying Mbappe cards as there are Luka cards? I'm not saying people who are soccer fans.
Is there as much demand for the soccer market? No, but yes and no. Here's what I'll explain. There's a lot of converted demand. There's a lot of people that have loved baseball and basketball cards, and now they like soccer cards. So maybe they originally weren't the biggest fans of soccer, but they were converted. They listened to Card Talk Pod. They listen to Tyler. They listen to Gary V. They've been watching soccer because soccer is now more readily available on TV, and it's kind of the best thing you could watch Saturday and Sunday mornings. So I do think that soccer has won over a lot of fans, and I will say it's foolish to assume that soccer isn't one of the most popular sports in the world.
Well, we've seen Mbappe Prism already go as high as $3,000. We've also seen it go down as low as high $600s, $700. So I think you could say the floor is in on those cards. I know because
I made that play.
Yep.
Do you remember
I was selling when they were selling them at that time. I made the same play, and I think you're right. They've kind of bounced off that. You guys still have 3 PSA 10s of Mbappe left. I never really had a silver or anything crazy like that. But yeah, I kept them because of exactly what you're talking about. The pipeline now for soccer, to make headlines in all these tournaments that are coming up. It's definitely there. I guess my only concern with soccer is the same concern I have with modern basketball now, and it's everyone's on it. And if everyone's on something,
I don't think everyone's on it, brother. I don't think everyone's on it, and there's a lot less supply of it too. I think of Mbappe as kind of the Giannis prism. So you know how the Giannis prism is a lot more rare, both the silver and the base, than the other guys. I think the Ansu Fatis, the João Feliz, the Reina, even Haaland. Haaland kind of reminds me of Zion for some reason. There's going to be way more pop because they were printed a few years after. They were printed in the kind of the more popular era. So there's going to be more pop of those cards, and the benchmark for at least the next 16 to 18 months, maybe 12 months, whatever, is going to be the Mbappe Prism card. Just like for a long time, and that changed, Cage. For a long time, what was the benchmark card of the hobby, of the modern NBA hobby? It was the Giannis card.
Yeah.
Everything was tracked by that card. And at some point when the Bucks during the bubble kind of had a really disappointing performance, it fell off. And the Luka card kind of became now the benchmark.
Yep. But even the Luka's down significantly. The Giannis is down significantly. I mean, everything's down significantly. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a tough timing play, right? And, I guess I just would be careful. I mean,
I don't agree. I don't agree with you.
Well, you don't have to. That's, we're not coming on here to be an echo chamber.
Let me rephrase. I call hypocrite on you because you just said that these cards are down a lot, down significantly, but you could make a chart do whatever it wants.
That's true.
Well, I will say that they're up significantly.
Mbappe is safer, is what I was saying there. I guess what I'm more concerned about is if you expand this play into these other guys that are a little more speculative that haven't had that. I mean, Mbappe's card, he's a young kid, but that card is now, it's 3 years old. It's in its fourth year. And that's a 2018 card. And he's already got a track record. I mean, he wasn't the guy on that team. It was more Griezmann's team, I think you probably would say, right? But he won a World Cup in 18. Like, that is a 2018 World Cup. His team won it. I would have loved for him to do a little more in PSG, maybe be injured a little bit less than he's been. But what I'm trying to say is, people have a tendency to expand these things, right? You got Luka, and it's like, oh, let's get Trey. You got Luka, oh, let me buy Michael Porter Jr. and myself, even Devontae Graham, and it becomes more speculative. So I guess my take on it is, I liked Mbappe play. I have him. I haven't sold all of them because I think you're right. Everything you're saying is right. Mine is more of a cautionary. Soccer's great. Some of these guys are not going to pan out. Some of these guys are. Some of these guys are.
But I didn't tell anyone to buy any of those guys. Just to be clear. Yeah. And something to be noted that makes soccer a little unique. There isn't always somebody's team in soccer. So like, and that even changes over the years. So like in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, when Messi was still scoring a ton of goals, if you look back at that team, that wasn't Messi's Barcelona team. It just wasn't actually. It was Ronaldinho's and Samuel Eto'o. So like, it was Ronaldinho, man. I wish Ronaldinho was available during this time, man. He would be the most popular card in the
and then what would happen though? I mean, would he?
He would go and party in Brazil. He would go and party in Brazil.
But I mean, listen, that's the thing with soccer also too, especially because like these guys, they seem to have, with the exception of Ronaldo and Messi, they're amazing. The guys who seem to flame up, they mostly seem to flame out in soccer, whether it's because, they lose a little bit of speed or whatever the reason is. Like I'll give you a great example.
Can I tell you the reason?
Neymar, right? Neymar was supposed to be like this great, great, great player, right? And he's still good, right? And he's very good. And I'm not saying anything bad about Neymar, but Neymar was Mbappe. He was the last Mbappe, and he did not pan out the way that everybody thought he was going to. I mean, he's the GOAT if we're talking about floppers. But that's
one thing people need
cards go up in value.
One thing people need to kind of understand about soccer when they compare it to basketball is we try to do an apples to apples comparison, and in a lot of ways there's similarities, but the actual format of the leagues make it extremely different. What I mean by that is, you say Neymar didn't pan out. Well, actually, it's a conscious choice of some of these soccer players to live their life instead of work. Because unlike NBA, where they have half the year off, soccer has no breaks. So like the reason sometimes you leave Real Madrid or Barcelona isn't because you're not good enough to play there. You're just, I don't want to be bombarded by the media all year. I want to party. I want to have fun. I have no off season. I don't want to play. every other day. So sometimes people leave, like Ronaldinho left Barcelona to go to Milan to chill out. And then he went all the way back to Brazil. Not because he's not good enough to play. It's just a different level. It's a different physical commitment. So something that Mbappe reminds me of is a young LeBron. I don't know anybody who takes care of his body like Mbappe does. He reminds me a little bit of Ronaldo in that sense. Ronaldo was committed to greatness. So like Ronaldo wasn't the most talented player as a young kid at all. He just worked on his athleticism. He's the hardest working guy. He takes care of his body. He doesn't go out with his teammates. He's like the Kobe, I guess you could say. His longevity is insane. That's way more rare in soccer than it is in any sport in American kind of sports.
Which makes it, for me, a tougher thing to invest my money in because these guys are making a lot of money. And you're right. Sometimes they need to just, take a pause. But I think if you play as Mbappe, that's about as safe as you can get right now because you don't got one, right? He's like Juan Soto, right? He's already got the championship, right? I mean, it's put him head and shoulders above all these other young players, right?
I guess I'll start adding like a little bit of like a start stop, but like I'm not saying like with my Tyler Hero play, I'm not saying just buy and hold inevitably forever. Like I'm just saying in the next 12 months, I could see that $12.25 Mbappe price will go to $3K, and I think that's a really nice profit in 12 months if you can over double your money. And then sell into the hype of the World Cup.
Yep.
Let's say you don't 100%. Want to do that. Let's say by the time the Euros come around, it's a $2,000 card and you want to take your $800 profit. Amazing.
Love it. Listen, Luca Nation, I hope over the next couple of months to be getting some soccer cards in from my LCS. And if we get some soccer, football, if we get some soccer cards in, maybe we'll break some with you guys. Significantly less price than what Blowout's charging. So,
R is the most menacing sound. That's why. Yeah, that's why they don't call it mukta. They call it murder.
That's why they don't call it mukduck. That's funny. All right. Well, listen, this was a good one, man. Soccer. Football.
Love you, Luca Nation. This was fun. I was half asleep when we started.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.